that we're in week 5 of our fly tying classes, and this is the freshwater, and this is the first fly. Now, the first fly is basically a midge. At this time of year, midges are extremely important. You don't have the mayflies or the caddis, and the fish key in on them because there are billions of these in the rivers and lakes. So we're going to be tying very simple patterns. These are the larvae. They're very simple. Basically, you could call them zebra midges, mercury midges. You could call them black beauties. There's just so many different midges out there. And you know what? They're all pretty much the same. There's not a lot of difference between them. Basically, we're going to start with a small hook. We're actually going to be using a 22, which I don't know if you can see it. I mean, it is really tiny, right? Real tiny. And believe it or not, these will catch big fish. They just sit there and they just take them. There's so many of them out there. You can tie it weighted, you can tie it with a bead, you can tie it with a glass bead, you can tie it with just dubbing. There's just so many ways to do it. It's a thread body and with wire and the head, and that's it. And you can do it in any colors. There's many, many, many colors, but we're going to do it in black because that's what you usually see. We're going to use red wire because it looks good on black, but silver wire also looks good. And we're going to do it with a bead and without a bead. So the first one we're going to do is actually with a bead. And to make these plunger style hackle pliers are really terrific for this because these hooks are so tiny to hold. It's very difficult. And to put the bead on these, it's very tough. So when you get your beads, they usually come in plastic cups, or if you get them in a bag, put them into a little cup like this. And what you do is you take your plunger and you kind of like go through the herd and try to pick up like that. And you try to pick up one. And then it also helps you to get it onto the in the vise, because these are tiny, tiny hooks. So these are very inexpensive, these little plunger hackle pliers, and I use them quite a bit for a lot of different things, but it works great for that. So let's switch over and we'll start tying this. If they're so simple, you should be able to knock off a dozen in about 20 minutes. The hardest part is actually getting the bead on the vise. And okay, so here we go. We have one on there already. I'm using black. I'm just going to tie it on. Get in there. And I'm going to tie in my wire. Take a little piece of red wire. And catch the wire. Wrap it all the way back. You don't want to hit the point. Be very careful. Now wrap forward all the way up to the bead. And wrap a third of the way down, and then back up, and you wrap 2/3 of the way down and back up. That just gives you a little bit of a tapered body. And to be honest with you, it's not that important, but we're trying to make it look good for us. Let it spin out. Now, I'm going to take the wire and start spiral wrapping all the way up. Try to keep it even. looks pretty good. Go up and tie up my thread. Bring it up and helicopter your wire off. Like that. Now, if you want, you can tie it off at this point, but we're going to put a little bit of dubbing on this. It just makes it a little bit nice, you know, just gives a little bit. I don't think it really matters too much. I'm going to put a little bit of dubbing wax on my thread. Like I said, I don't think it matters that much, but it just looks better. It doesn't matter to the fish. This is the dubbing we're using. Now we are going to take that much. Tiny, 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 tiny much. And you're just going to take it and you wrap it onto the thread. That's dubbing it. And I'm just going to wrap it nice. Like that. And I'm going to do just a small whip finish, maybe 3. And reach in there and cut my thread. And that's the first one. They're very similar to the mercury midge, bead-headed zebra midge. You could do this, like I said, you could do this in all different colors. There's not a lot that you have to worry about. It's very simple. The fish love them and they eat them. So with that, we'll start on the second one. Yeah. Drop my hook. Go in there with my plunger style. Get another one on there. There you go. Start my hook. I'm not using a bead on this one. I'm going to put a little thread base. Go down. Take my wire. All the way down. Bring it up. And I'm leaving a little space in the front. Go down go down a third. Go back. Go down 2/3. And go back. Now before I go back, I'm actually going to let this spin out. flatten out a little bit, and then go forward. Stop right there, leaving space. I'm going to wrap my wire. All the way up. Right up to the thread. And tie it off. Reach in there. Click. And I'm going to put a little bit of dubbing wax. Again, I'm taking a little bit, very little. And I'm going to just twist it right up onto the thread. This is dubbing. You'll always go in this direction. And wrap. And do a whip finish. Make sure the eyes are clean. Yep. And cut it off. And here you got your little, this is kind of like the Black Beauty, but like I said, they all look alike. They're all very similar, all very easy to tie. Definitely tie up a bunch of these, have them in all different colors, do them in pink, do them in olive, do them in green, do them in red. There's, like I said, these are midges are all over the place. So until next week, tight lines, everybody.